Okay, recording started. Hey, all of you, welcome to welcome to our another public meeting, which is also called Special Interest Group AsyncAPI meeting. It has different meetings depending on the day, I guess. We use different name. And I'm mentioning it because Barbanio recently asked me about it, so it was hard for me to say what's the name of the meeting and when we use which name. But anyway, it's a public meeting. Hello to all of you. And if I could ask people that I see on the meeting for the first time, plus people that anyway would like to introduce themselves to others, can I hope you don't mind if I call you out to the wallboard. I think that's at least how it was in school in Poland when teacher was calling you to the wallboard. So we, for sure, it's for me, it's a first time I see Hugo on the meeting. Hugo, would you like to, or are you just here to listen the meeting, or would you like to add something before we jump into the agenda items?
I'm mainly just here to listen because this is my first time on a meeting. I've got a couple of questions in the issues, but I don't think that's necessary this week. But I'm mainly trying to catch up and get a feel for what's going on.
Okay, awesome. Hello, Ian.
Hi, everybody.
So next person, who's next? Who wants to be next one? Nick, maybe you?
Yeah, sure. I'm from IBM and I work with Dale Lane, and I'm joining this call at the moment mostly to be listening in. The interest I have specifically is describing Kafka within AsyncAPI, but that's not a concrete interest in so much as I will be paying attention to lots of the other ways that AsyncAPI is being used and developed as well.
Okay, thanks. Welcome. Martin?
Yes, hello. I'm from Ably. I'm the technical content manager there, and I'm just sitting in to listen, fly on the wall, basically. I have a question I'll post in Slack later, but I just wanted to get a feel.
Awesome, welcome. Can I ask? I mean, I'm gonna ask you a personal question, but you can just skip it. You have Polish roots, maybe because of the last name?
Yes, that's a very good question. The answer is yes.
Okay, cool, interesting.
Sure.
So we have 3 people with Polish roots on the
No, they just get everywhere. And we'll keep multiplying.
Yeah. That's the plan.
That's right.
And Jess, would you like to also? I think it's your first time during the meeting.
It is. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse Menning. I'm in the CTO office at Solace, Marc DiPasquale's colleague. Marc has been called to other stuff, so I'm going to take over his participation. Marc may pop in from time to time, but I'm interested in sort of getting up to speed a little bit.
Oh, hi, Jesse. I'm Michael from Solace, too. I haven't met you yet.
Oh, hey, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so
I'm working on Event Designer.
Ah, excellent.
Okay, so 3 people from Solace. At least I can see 2 people, I think, from Red Hat. Too many people from Postman, and these 2 people from IBM. So it's good. And others, I don't remember the names of the company. Sorry. So before we jump into the agenda items, anyone would like to add something, ask something before we take over the meeting with the official agenda items? You sure? It's the last moment. Okay, so the first item, it's from Laurent from Microx project. I mean, would you like to? I mean, I can talk.
Yes, I'm going to introduce myself.
Okay, cool.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Laurent Broudoux, and as said, Lukasz, I'm working at Red Hat on daytime, and at nighttime I'm the leader of the Microx project. So the aim of Microx is to provide toolings for easily mocking and contract testing APIs. So it supports AsyncAPI from last summer. And for that, it takes care specifically of the examples that you may have added to your specification, because it used them to turn them into actionable mocks. Okay. And for that, I've made a feature request some months ago, and it was about adding a formal specification for the message examples, because at that time, still now, I would say, examples are just a map of string and any type. But basically, I think if we want to build some tools upon that to be able to extract examples and to turn them into actionable items, we have to specify them a bit more further. So I put this issue on GitHub some months ago, and just wanted to know how we can pursue on, how we can go, yes, trying to pushing this in the next specification release.
Okay. So would you like me, Fran, to answer, and then you just add if I'm missing something, or?
As you wish, if you have an answer for that.
I mean, so I can give you honest answer from my side, and then Fran can say something different.
The bullshit, right?
I mean, we didn't prepare the answer, so let's see who answers what. So from my perspective, the reason why it's blocked, it's because we are now in a position that we should not make any bigger changes to the spec, because, as you know, many of us joined Postman. So that's a main blocker. And so me and Fran, we are now fully focused on going to a neutral ground, to a foundation, but also at the same time to research and model a basic open governance model that can help us out to kick off. And it's not a trivial thingy. I mean, from my perspective, especially, it's a lot of reading, researching, checking out all those different communities, how they work. It's causing a lot of headache, and it's like, for me personally, it's after listening to all different stories from different communities, for us, it's super important to make sure that the open governance model that we come up with is making sure that we all work together on the spec and on the tooling, and there's no risk that there can be some dominance of some specific company or some group of interest. So that's the governance model and the foundation. That's the main blocker. And right after this, there's another blocker, I would say, for adding the support, is that we don't have a good, like, written down release process for the spec. So for now, we were just like, not we, actually, before 2.0, it's just like Fran was accepting changes in the spec after discussions with community, etc. But there was no, let's say, official process written down that would clearly say, okay, that's the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and then go. So that's something that we have to write down. From my perspective, it's also a blocker. Not sure how Fran sees it and others, but I think we need clear, like, definition and decision how we want to release in the future. So the only difference is here that the examples proposal that you did, the proposal for examples object, I think it's not that complicated topic. It's pretty easy, pretty easy change. And from my perspective, it would be awesome to model and or work on the concept for release process basing on this feature as an example. So we can see how to proceed with this and then release, and however we did the process, just write it down, and that's the official release process. But to do it, I think it has to be accepted by the by whatever governance group will set up after joining the foundation. So that's unfortunately the blockers that I see, but the light in the tunnel is that we're working on it at the moment.
Yeah.
Our main focus.
Do you have? Sorry, Fran.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you have an agenda, an estimated time of arrival for setting up this this release process and this governance model? Let's say.
So we don't have any. I mean, me personally, I don't have any deadline, but
I do.
But for me, it's like main focus, and it's like every day I work on it. So it's it's so I would say it's pretty soon. But yeah,
it's a priority. Okay.
So yeah, just to clarify a little bit, the reason this is a blocker right now and that we cannot stop this from being a blocker is precisely to avoid this company dominance or group of interest dominance into the project. So modeling the project before we join a foundation, a neutral ground, and that's why we're like kind of stopping all the important decisions, especially these breaking changes, because that will be a breaking change if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Into the spec, so that will be for AsyncAPI 3. But not just that. The thing is that, yeah, just to be fair with everyone, right? And I want to be as transparent as possible here. We are right now discussing joining Linux Foundation, right? As some of you know. So we're in the process, actually, we're working on joining Linux Foundation. So we decided that it's a great place to be. And it looks like we're gonna join Linux Foundation. And I say it looks like because, you know, it doesn't only depend on us, right? And many things can happen. So yeah, but if everything continues like this, we'll join Linux Foundation somehow, whatever that means, right? We need to find yet the format, right? And how we're gonna do the open governance thing, right? Like what Lukasz was saying is that we want to come up with a way to establish governance for the project that is fair for everyone, and that it's not only fair for the companies putting some dollars there, you know, like putting some bucks there. It's like just because I'm paying, I can control the direction of the project. Now we also want to give the opportunity to people who is dedicated to the project and dedicating time to take these decisions. So yeah, in short, money will not buy power here, right? That's what we're trying to accomplish, and that's why it's so hard, because yeah, it's freaking hard, because somehow we're doing something new, but it's not really new. There are Node.js and other foundations are doing something similar. So yeah, it's gonna take some time. And then that's the release process. So for the I don't think the release process is a blocker. It's more of a like Lukasz was saying, that we can learn while doing. We establish we decide into a release process. We try with a few, not just with the examples feature, examples change, but with other changes, and then we try it. We see how it goes, right? And we iterate over that. But I think iteration there will keep happening over time. It's just at the beginning. So that's the other thing. Then on the estimated time, I have a deadline myself that I don't want this to take more than this month. So at the end of this month, it needs to be done. Like whatever is joining a foundation and having the release process, at least an initial plan on how we'll do it at the end of this month. And I think it's viable. It's not a meager estimated time. I will say that it's really possible, because we're very close to finishing all the other steps. And yeah, other than that, I don't think. I think I don't know if we can start parallelizing things already. Like, for instance, development of the feature. Sorry, not the feature of the change, the examples reworking how examples work. If we can already start moving forward with this and preparing like everything that's needed for whenever it's ready to happen. I think that's the only thing that we could do right now to speed things up, and I think it would be a great idea actually. But yeah, happy to hear from others like how do you if it's becoming a pain for you, because I don't know, but I feel myself like I'm repeating the same. I was going to say something bad. The same thing. Meeting over meeting, and it's like yeah, but I really want this to be unblocked. But you know, when things grow like it's happening right now, it's really hard to move forward fast, especially when you have to change the governance and you want to make sure that you do it well, right? Because if you mess things up on governance, then you probably mess things up forever. So yeah, we want to take this step very seriously, and that's why it's probably blocking a lot. So, yeah.
So I understand what you're saying about not wanting to make changes until the governance stuff is sorted. Is there anything else on these sorts of issues around future changes? Is there anything else we can do to progress it in the meantime to get to a point where once the governance is sorted, we have a fully spec'd out, fully considered, fully debated thing that's ready for a decision?
Well, like I said, for instance, with the examples issue, I think individual issues, we can get individual issues and move them forward as much as we can and start debating there on the issues and coming to a consensus there. And I think that would be fine. Like one of the things that we'll have to do for governance is
Hey, others, can you hear Fran?
No.
No.
We lost him.
Yeah, I lost him too.
again. You hear me?
No,
Hear me
we
again?
can hear you now. Yeah, that's good. Now.
Okay.
It's good.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Something happened. So the thing with
No.
Whenever you want to say something meaningful, you get cut out.
Wrong thing? Are we having an intervention to stop you from getting this on the record?
Probably.
Okay, so I think you can hear me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I cannot hear you. Okay, now yes, I can now. Let me just take this out. Sorry. So I was saying that that one of the things that we'll have to do is to designate a technical committee, an initial technical committee, or a group of people, right, that will decide on what gets included and what not. Damn, sorry, my speakers are changing all the time. Like this is becoming crazy. And sorry, I'll just try to finish this sentence and then I'll I'll see what's happening. And the thing is that whatever we decide in the issue, we can be sure that this is gonna get into the spec, right? It's not that we're gonna work on something on specific issues and then we designate a technical committee and suddenly this technical committee says that no, this is not gonna get in the end, right? So no, this is not gonna happen. I mean, the first reason the reason I'm saying this is not going to happen is that the people who are working on defining or helping or guiding you to finishing these issues, to solve these issues, is most probably the people who are going to be part of the technical committee, right? So in the end, we might have someone else, some extra person or someone else in the beginning, but yeah, if everything is almost designed already and decided, that should be fine. So yeah, so just I will say that the best way here is to work on specific issues and try to get them as far as possible. Even if done, maybe we don't merge them, but yeah, like even with the pull request or something, and that should be fine. And now I'm gonna see if I can actually hear you. Oh, damn.
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of got more the couple of issues that I've raised around the Kafka bindings in mind. So, because I know that I sort of raised the issue very much as highlighting an area that I thought there was an opportunity, as opposed to proposing a thing that was ready for a decision. Yeah. So I was just wondering, like, how helpful would it be to try and nudge that further towards being a proposal instead of just here's an idea that needs looking at.
Well, I think you did the right step, right? Like, so it's like just highlighting that there is an issue on the spec, and like with the Kafka binding, and I think the next step is probably proposing a solution, right? It can be you, it can be me, it can be someone else, like whoever wants to work on it. But if you want to take it further, that will be perfect. And if you want to propose a solution, that would be awesome. Even in the same issue, one thing that I will recommend is describing your solution there, and then once we're discussed there, you can create the pull request. Or if it's something really minimal, maybe you can go straight with the pull request, and we discuss there. And yeah, whatever works better for you. The only thing we don't want to happen here is that you lose time working on something that is not going to be done this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if it's something minimal, then we can discuss on the pull request if you're happy with that. So yeah, hope that makes sense.
But you're talking about bindings, right?
Kafka bindings, yeah.
Yeah.
Kafka authorization, I think, right?
Yeah. This was the other part of my agenda suggestion, because we have also RFE on Kafka bindings too. So okay. If I understand correctly, so we'll continue discussing on the issue and then pushing pull request once we have some kind of agreement around the solution, and then we'll see after the governance committee setup how to validate this and how to merge the changes within the next release. Okay, makes sense.
I think if I can add something, I think that this kind of things are actually good previews for this kind of governance model. So I think that's what Fran trying to say, that we shouldn't stop because there is some changes. Yes. So I think the community is working and there are some great suggestions and findings, and I think we shouldn't stop that. So, and that's we have to exercise. And of course there is a point because of the change that maybe we cannot push 100%, but let's try. I mean, maybe that will be the first version of that governance model, and we say that, okay, by agreeing in the community as you guys work and we're working there, so that's what we do. I think another thing, I think, Fran, again, it's like communication. Yes, so if the timeline is more visible, sorry, I'm also repeating myself, but maybe that's how what we do. Then people are also kind of more confident that how.
Absolutely, and actually, I was going to say like something that I'm gonna work now, but I can't work now, even if I wish. The next thing that I have in my to-do list is, and it's sorted by priority, is to create and publish this roadmap, right? And also I've been investigating a little bit more about creating roadmaps, because I usually don't like the kind of roadmaps that you usually find everywhere, like this straight line that spans over time, and that puts some things one after the other, right? And that it's so difficult to commit to, because who knows what you're gonna do in 6 months from now, let's say, or priorities most probably will shift because you learn more, and then you decide to reprioritize things, right? So I'm working on a new kind of roadmap, which is not invented by myself, but more in a roadmap that in a format that it's visible what's coming next, and then what probably will come next after that, right? In terms of priority and all the stuff, right? So yeah, I hope to have this ready like mid of this month, to have this kind of roadmap. It's gonna be hard because of what Lucas said, that we're working on the governance as well, and yeah, this is gonna be hard. But yeah, more visibility is something that we have in mind, and that we want to do more transparency if you want. Yeah.
One other thing I came into my mind just looking at these issues, that on one part is like features and some new things that are changes, but as you mentioned, that sometimes are fixes. Yes, so maybe spec fixes and something. There's always a better path to do that. Yes, because if it's a fix, then it could be harmful or painful for people. So that's also could be an interesting thing to say, that what if there is a possibility to distinguish between these things. Yes, again, in a release process, sometimes you say, okay, it's a bug fix, so there is a way of fixing a bug on a spec, or it's a feature. So when that also could be something that kind of qualifying the question. So not everything is just flat and have to go through the same governance process, but it's a fix. So we agree, or you guys agree on, okay, this is really a bug. So we recognize this as a bug, not a feature.
Yeah.
So then it could go through on this temporary time, and of course, but it could be a thinking also for the future that it should be different things. Yes, as in the normal release procedure, that there are different things as major, minor things, minor changes, and so on and so on. So maybe that's also something you can say that, okay, that's how it goes, or that's how it then anyways. It's just about, because of the uncertainty, a little bit of uncertainty right now, people are kind of. Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, no, that's a really great suggestion, and I think what Lucas has been doing on all the repos of the organization, which actually you're gonna show later, right? I think so. Lucas has been automating the way we release on all the repos, and what was the name of this? I can't remember. Lucas, what was the name of this syntax that we have?
Conventional commits.
Conventional commits, exactly. So we're using conventional commits and semantic release or something like this. This is a package, right? And so then you tag your pull request as if this is a bug fix, or if it's a minor or a major, right? I mean, the problem with this is is that it's a spec, right? So we want to group changes as much as possible, so and release, or I mean, this is something that we have to think in the end, because if you think about it as well, it's like, why do we have to group changes at all, right? Why don't we do continuous release? And then it's just a matter of I mean, just treat the spec as a software, right? As any other software. It doesn't mean that because we have a new version of the spec, you have to instantly adopt it, right? But like every X amount of time, then we decide that all the tooling should be updated to the new version of the spec, and blah, 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 you know. I mean, this is something that we have to discuss, like how we're gonna do the release process, like we were saying. And but yeah, for sure, if we end up deciding that we group minor changes and major changes into a single big release of the spec, that shouldn't block from releasing patches, you know, small patches and fixes. So fixes will be like immediate as soon as it's merged. There's a new version of the spec. I don't know, 3.0.8, wherever, because we do a lot of mistakes. So so yeah. So that will be a blocker. But yeah, again, this is a release process. This is something that we have to decide and to work on. And I feel that we could decide this ourselves now, but right before we create a technical committee, right? But is it fair for the technical committee then working on that? Like, why don't allow these people joining officially the project, the technical committee, to decide this themselves, right? As part of this. So as part of this be in the technical committee, right? So yeah, so I hope this makes sense.
Maybe you have to start calling these recommendations for and not decisions, and then you are in a safe harbor.
Recommendation, right? It's a recommendation.
Doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes this terminology is important, you know. If you wanna treat that upcoming technical community right, so terminology is everything, yes, because that's how it is. So that's how we empower that coming thing. But I think from a decision-making point of view, it's just like progress over perfection. So it's not like you have to find out, sit down now, and in 2 weeks have sort out everything. Yes, it's like having the intentions on place and helping people who are sitting there to that like this in this meeting. I think that's just perfect. Yes, because now we have an insight. People have an insight how this really works or works already. Maybe not documented, not communicated, not very nicely put, but I mean it is here. It's out, so it's okay. Again, it's part of it, I think, part of the journey.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But we sometimes it looks like we're talking about this technical committee, future technical committee, and ourselves as totally different people. But think that most probably technical committee will be ourselves plus some other people. So in the end, it's the same people, and we'll make proposals. Of course, we have ideas. We'll make these not suggestions. Well, in the end, are suggestions, of course, because they have to be voted. But we'll make proposals, and the committee will have to vote, right? And we may end up having multiple proposals for the release cycles, right? So yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
And just to add, I think, like Franz said, we also can do work in parallel. So it doesn't mean that like if me and Fran are now focused on open governance, then scratching a release process has to wait for us. It's like with the bindings, what Franz said, that you can already start pushing those topics, create pull requests, and get the stuff ready. The same with the release process. I mean, during the meeting, I was looking for one pull request, which I think will be pretty interesting for you. So in December last year, Walid from our community already wanted to push forward the topic of releases and release candidates, etc. And he opened a PR, and we had a longer discussion in the PR, and already we kind of had a brain fart of all the ideas, questions and answers that we have to face while working on the release. So if there's already in this audience, on this call, someone that would like to start pushing forward this topic, start answering those questions, giving suggestions, then feel free to take this pull request as a reference, open a separate issue in AsyncAPI repo, and let us already start discussion and proposals how certain steps can be solved. Why not? I mean, at the end, for us, it's super hard to jump into it and start driving the topic. But if somebody drives it and we're just commenting and giving questions and answers, then we should be able to also in parallel drive the release process topic as well.
Yeah, and just to add to that is the more you participate in that, the less it will be about us and it will be more about the community, right? Because right now it looks like the group working at Postman, like it's leading the future of the project and deciding everything, right? And we want this group to be more diverse, right? More in terms of people, not only people working at Postman. We love our people working at Postman. I'm saying this because King is here, otherwise it's not. So, but yeah, this needs to be a more healthy group and diverse, right? So yeah. So I'll really recommend that you make some proposals and stuff, even if it's just triggering the conversation, right? It doesn't have to be a formal proposal with lots of text or anything. Just raising the topic and triggering, maybe just describing a little bit the idea that you have in mind, if you have someone, and from there we continue, right? Sometimes that works better than just waiting to have the perfect idea in your mind and the perfect text to because then it will never happen, right? You will never do it. So yeah.
Okay, anything else in regards to this first agenda item? Can we jump to another one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So next one is boring comparing to the previous discussion. So I just want to give you a some summary of changes that were done over the last couple of weeks in a CI related to AsyncAPI organization. So I'm not gonna talk about everything. I'm gonna talk about changes, important changes for contributors, because committers, maintainers, most of them already, like all of them already know what changed, except of Michael, because Michael mentioned at the beginning of the call that he will contribute back a few features again. So Michael, if you will have like more questions after what I say, then feel free to ping me also on Slack, or just during development if you need some help. So regarding the changes, I've already put the agenda, the notes for the meeting in the issue. So I just pasted the link to the issue in the chat. So the most important change, or not maybe a change, but something that we now made official, is what also already Fran mentioned. So last year, March or April, I think, we started using conventional commits for generator. Then we started using it for parser, and then other projects, mainly to be able to automate releases. That worked out pretty well. So since last week or 2 weeks ago, now we have it like official. Every PR is checked against the conventional commits. So if the PR title does not meet the conventional commits, we're blocking the release. And I don't want to now go into the topic of the release process again, but just to mention that conventional commits is flexible enough that we can even use it for the spec, because it has also a concept of scopes, etc. So it's I think it's pretty doable. Maybe not with semantic versioning package, but yeah, we're developers, we can write our own package. Another interesting topic for contributors, I think, because in the past we had few contributors using Windows, and they were facing regularly issues with building projects locally on machines different than Macs. So now we are testing on ACI using all the scripts on all possible platforms. So it's Mac, Linux, and Windows. We solved a number of issues that we faced on Windows with our scripts, and now they're passing, which means like it doesn't matter what platform you're having. If you're gonna need to run some npm scripts on your local machine, and you're a Windows developer, not Windows developer, developer using Windows, you should be happy. And if you're happy, then we're happy. Then also something that I asked community a few months back, we wanted to inform you about new releases on different channels, and we picked that Twitter is also a good channel to automatically let you know that we have a new release of some package of some in some repository. So now it's also done for all the repos. So as agreed with community, every major and minor release will go automatically to Twitter, so you know it happened. Plus all the releases, not only minor and major, but also the patches will go to the Slack channel GitHub releases. So if you want to listen, you can join the channel and and monitor this information. If you think we should post it to some other channels, just let us know. We can always configure that. Also, we have a separate channel for new PRs and issues. So if you want to be more active in the project, you want to see what's happening, where PRs are being created, what issues are added to any repository under AsyncAPI, then you can also join this dedicated channel where you can see all the notifications only about new issues, and also I mean issues that are not created by bots, but I mean like real humans. And there's a dedicated channel which name is pretty difficult. It's all in the link I sent to you. I mean difficult for me to spell. And for potential contributors, so if like contributing to AsyncAPI is not only code or spec, if someone wants to contribute by having fun with CI/CD setup. So after the refactoring of the CI, there are 2 issues left, which are also important for the project, that someone can jump into these topics and suggest solutions and even do the configuration. I offer, of course, my help to onboard someone. So there are 2 issues. One is, of course, I'm going to send you the link first. One is that we would like to start automatically do the test coverage testing in our projects, plus have this testing on PRs level. So be professional enough that on a PR, when there's a new feature added, we don't go down with the quality of test coverage. So I think it's pretty interesting topic to work on with with GitHub Actions, of course. And that was my wife in the background. And the other one, I think it's much more cooler, especially that discussion that has to be done around the topic. So we want to automate the way you can merge changes, because we have many projects, many code repositories. And to be able to merge the pull request, you have to be a member of the organization, have right access to the repo, etc. And at the moment we have this problem that we can only we're accepting whoever's in the organization. We give people right access to the organization, which means people have right access to all repos, which should not happen by default. That's why Fran was recently doing some cleanup, so we can be like safe here until we're done with this this workflow. So we want to basically, using GitHub Actions, have some kind of automated way of merging PRs. So if the CI does all checks, like PR title, lint, testing goes through, test coverage is okay, etc., and then one of the maintainers, like in Kubernetes, does okay to merge comment or adds a label okay to merge, then the merge should happen by a bot in an automated way. So it's much easier than like remembering to add people to teams and manage those rights. And believe me, it can take a lot of time. Like if you want to manually manage the organization, then it gets complicated, and we just want to automate it with CI and GitHub Actions. And if someone wants to take this over, then again, I'm happy to onboard you. And that's it if it comes to the changes in the CI. If you have any questions, then please ask.
Well, I don't have a question. I just want to highlight something that you did and you didn't mention, is that Lukasz has been doing an amazing job cleaning up all the repositories in the organization. So thanks for that, man, because this has been like very detailed and exhausting job. So thanks for doing this, little by little on each repo. And also something amazing that he did, and that can be useful for other organizations, is the way we handle the global workflows. I think that's the way you called it, right? Like, or
yeah, global workflows. Yeah.
So maybe you can explain what is it about better than myself. I don't know.
Thank you. So not sure how much you're familiar with GitHub Actions, but I think it's also concerning the Circle CI or Travis CI or all the CI systems that are based on the file configuration that you have in your repo. So we faced many times during last months working with GitHub Actions issues like, for example, with pull request action. In the release workflow, we have a pull request. We use a pull request action that at the end of the release creates a pull request with the with a change in package JSON to the repo. So then automatically we bump the version in package JSON in the repo. And the problem was that this action got broken, and many other actions also had the same issue over the last couple of months. And this was causing issues on the CI, but to fix these issues, we had to bump the action that we use, which means we have to update the version of the action that we use in those configurations files in 20 repositories or 30 repositories. So you can imagine like doing 30 PRs. That, I mean, first time it might be fun. Next time you're starting getting depression. And that was in my case. And my psychiatrist told me that it's better to automate. So I simply created a GitHub action that it works in the way that we have a workflow that we put in .github repository, and this action grabs the change, checks what repositories we have in the organization, and pushes is pushing this change to these repos through a usual workflow. So it grabs the repo, makes a change, creates a pull request, and then we have auto merge workflow that is merging the changes. So we change in one place, and then it's done in all the repos. So if you're interested, I can later on share the link to the action with you and tell you how it works. But it helped us. It helped us a lot. Now it really helped. Any other topics except of my poor English? We have 8 minutes till the end, so.
Well, I would love to raise a question here for everyone. Is that how can we make it easier for you to start contributing, right? Because we see many people joining these calls, especially today, right? I think we had a record today, but it's always hard, and I get many private messages. Hey, I want to contribute. How can I get started, right? And we always do it like in a kind of manual process, because the project is evolving so fast that whatever we do is not valid in probably 6 months from now. So I was wondering, how can we improve this process, or maybe what's stopping you from contributing, or I don't know, if you have any ideas of what can we do, what can we be doing better right now that we're not doing.
I can speak only for myself. I said to you also, but I'm saying here, I'm really considering and trying to go into the space and start contributing with my contribution. It's restricted right now to participate here and trying to give my input right now. I don't think I missed something from you guys. I think you have created a tremendous job here. I can also just say to myself, I think it's difficult to find the time for the contribution from my side. So it's nothing I wouldn't say that it's nothing hindering that I can start. Like today, you just listed I like 5 or 6 areas there are, and there are some very interesting one. I'm very interested. It's just a question of how it starts. But I think you have the Slack. You promoted that. I think there is a really good discussions there. That's just you can just go in and I can go in. I think it's just a matter of I'm dropping some of the boring stuff from my work and doing this one instead of that. Then it's going forward. So that's my point. That's my doing. So ditch me more and ask me more like this one, and then I feel the urge to start doing it. I think, but I could speak myself. So that's my. And I really would like to participate on the Federation the spec or the architectural side, or even on other aspects. So I'm ready to do that. I just need to find the right time, and that's
what's your biggest blocker with your time? Is it in your head, or is it your boss's head, or is it a little bit of both? What are some of the things that we could do to make things easier for you to carve out time?
I think it's just personal priority. I think it's like that. It's like you have to be in this Corona times, everything happening in parallel. You can see that I'm looking outside. That means that I have family here. They're coming back and forth and doing that, and then other monitors just still work. So I think that's the best. It's just personal. I think from you guys, I think the value proposition, what's coming out as a communication from an employer point of view is just enough. I mean, it shows that there is something here. It's important. So if that's question of priority, I think there is no issue that I can defend from my employer side if it counts. But I think it's more like personal issue for my side. But I will do that. So trust me, I committed this, so I want to do this. So no worries.
Well, I'm going to keep asking over time, because I mean, I have a list of things that I got to do every day that's like this long, and I get the time to do this much of my list. So it's always about prioritization for me, and then tricking myself into believing, well, I've got to do that because that's really important, because either my boss is on me for it, or usually it's not that. Usually it's me. I have to say this is super important and convince myself. So I'm going to always be looking ways at convincing y'all, and try to understand where the friction is in the process. So I'm doing this for the OAI right now as well. We're talking about adding a piece into the contribution flow, and there was questions like, oh, it's already so much friction, and it's so hard to get people involved. Adding another piece is just going to make it worse. And so I'm trying to understand what that process is. So I'll keep working with Fran and Lukasz to understand the process, but I'll keep trying to find ways to incentivize y'all and get people contributing.
Yeah, and I'd say from my perspective, I think Fran mentioned earlier, creation of a new roadmap. I think that would help, because it would help people realize what the top priorities are coming up for the initiative as a whole, right? So I think people want to contribute to something they know is meaningful to the community. So I think that will help. And then also maybe on like the AsyncAPI webpage or something, saying like how people can contribute, right? Other than, I think right now it just says you can join Slack, but if you said like, hey, head over here and like here are like some of our top priorities that we really want to do, that didn't fit into our plan for the next month or two, but if somebody can contribute and add to those, like we would like it if you did those. And maybe, I know in some of the repos there are labels for like good first issue. I don't know if it's like that for all, but maybe have those available on a page or something so people can easily find them and they don't have to go like repo to repo to find them. Those are just maybe a few suggestions that might help people find where they want to start, for people that don't knowing what they want to do.
I would add to that maybe a visual to the website, or that's like, here's the process in a visual, because we all respond well to visual cues.
Good point, thanks.
I actually like it a lot, this idea of having a central place for all the good first issues. We have this label in many repos, and we've been using it. But yeah, it's a pain to go through all of them, and also understanding the whole organization, how many repos we have, what every piece is doing, how are they interconnected. Lukasz created a map some time ago where you could see how everything is connected. I think it was you or someone who contributed this map, but yeah, anyway, there's this map should be visible as well somewhere, because if I had to find it myself now, I will struggle. So that's not good. If myself, who I'm working 100% on this, I struggle to find things, maybe it will be easier to find, and we have to rearrange. Yeah, in the end, it's about communicating better, right? So yeah, and the chicken egg problem that I'm seeing here with community wanting to find what contribution can be meaningful, is that for us, what's meaningful for the community, it's probably needs to be suggested by the community, right? So if the community doesn't tell us what's meaningful for you, right, individually, like if you don't tell us like what's meaningful for you, then it's hard for us to understand what's meaningful. But yeah, I think there are like I can see that there are like at least two kinds of contributor here. One is the contributor who has experience and wants to propose changes or raise issues or things like this. And then there's the other kind of contributor who is more like, hey, just give me some stuff to do and I'll do it because I just want to get involved into open source, for instance, right? So yeah, so for that second kind, that second kind of contributor probably is not necessary to give their opinion first. They just want to do something, right? They just want to get started with something and feeling that they're doing something meaningful. So yeah, great suggestions. Thanks for that.
And
anything else?
Just to add, I mean, I tried to do this contribution guide in the past, so there are some Google Docs. Then there's this map, but this map is rather overwhelming. I don't think it should be shown to new people to not scare them off. But yeah, I just recently shared it, so I have a one issue somewhere in the repo where I list all the topics that I'm considering as my priority list. So, and at the moment I'm adding this clear contribution guide at the end of the list. So I'm gonna put some description to it. And you can vote up in the comments if you think I should move it up before some other topics. And if someone wants to help, then that would be even better. Okay, so it's 2 minutes past 6. Some of you probably have another meetings. Thanks a lot for joining. It was, I think we beat the record today. Even during the Postman partnership announcement, I don't think we had so many people.
No,
so,
I don't think so, yeah.
So it's good. It's really good. The year starts really, really good. Thanks a lot again. And hear you in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, of course, we have a different time for the meeting, which is much more APAC friendly. Yep. 8 a.m. UTC.
Yep. And remember, we have Postman Galaxy tomorrow. Actually, it started today, but there are no talks today. So yeah, only workshops. So yeah, we have Postman Galaxy, and I'll be speaking there, but there will be a bunch of cool talks. So and it's free. You can register for free. So I really recommend having a look at the schedule. It's really great. Yes, and stuff. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.